A powerful storm system is set to impact the United States over the next few days, with significant severe weather expected, including widespread damaging winds, very large hail, and several tornadoes. So in today's forecast, we are going to break down exactly what you need to know about the weather that'll be impacting the United States over the next 7 days. And we'll begin with what's happening across the country today. And we are coming off of a pretty big day yesterday of a lot of severe weather across the upper Midwest and the Central Plains. And this morning, we've had a weakening area of storms across the Central Plains, which this is one of multiple rounds of storms that we are going to see today in the Central Plains, because in fact, we are expecting a potential derecho later today back over in Colorado, Kansas, maybe even Nebraska, Oklahoma, and even back into Missouri, which that could cause the threat of widespread damaging winds and tornadoes. And then tomorrow, that storm system is going to move into the Midwest, Ohio Valley, and back into the Southern Plains, where all hazards of severe weather will once again be on the table. Now let's talk more about the severe weather potential for the next few days, and we'll begin with today, which is Tuesday, and we have a level 4 out of 5 moderate risk of severe weather now in place across parts of central and southwestern Kansas, and also an enhanced risk of severe weather that goes from eastern Colorado back into western Missouri, where all hazards of severe weather will be on the table today, including the potential for widespread destructive damaging winds as high as 100 miles per hour, and we could actually have a derecho today. Also, on the other hand, we do have a larger marginal and slight risk of severe weather that extend all the way back up into the Midwest, also as far west as Wyoming, and another little marginal threat back over in the mid-Atlantic for today. So the biggest concern once again will be damaging winds, and if you're in that hatched area in eastern Colorado and Kansas, that is where we can anticipate damaging winds as high as 70 to 100 miles per hour throughout the afternoon and evening hours, as a line of thunderstorms will form later this afternoon. And additionally to that, we also have a threat of large to very large hail, especially if you're back over in central Kansas. And as I alluded to a minute ago, we are going to see multiple rounds of storms, one of which will be a line of storms back over in Colorado that'll move into Kansas, and then another one that's actually going to form during the mid to late afternoon that is also going to produce the threat of very large hail. There's also a chance for a few tornadoes today. This is also going to come from our line of thunderstorms, but there may also be a few discrete cells that fire off later today in Kansas that could also pose the threat for a few tornadoes. And if a tornado were to happen today, a strong tornado cannot be ruled out. And then on Wednesday, our threat of severe weather will shift further to the south and east, where we have another level 3 out of 5 enhanced risk of severe weather in place from central and southern Michigan back into southeastern Missouri, and a large slight risk that goes all the way back over into Oklahoma, and that marginal threat goes over into North Texas, where all hazards of severe weather will be on the table tomorrow, including the threat of damaging winds, which will be scattered to numerous, especially in the Ohio Valley. Large to very large hail is a possibility. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw a couple storms produce up to tennis ball sized hail back over in parts of Illinois, Indiana, and maybe even northwest Ohio. There's also a chance for a few tornadoes. So notice how we have a large 5% tornado risk that does include areas like St. Louis, Missouri, going back into central Indiana like Indianapolis, and just outside of Detroit. I also would not be surprised if this were to get upgraded to a 10% tornado risk in a future outlook back over in eastern Illinois and northwestern Indiana, where a few tornadoes do appear likely. There's also a low tornado potential as far south and west as central and southern Oklahoma. This does include areas just outside of Oklahoma City. And then as we go into Thursday, our threat of severe weather will continue to shift east into the East Coast, where we have a large slight risk of severe weather in place from the mid-Atlantic all the way back into New England, where scattered to numerous damaging winds, a little bit of large hail, and a few tornadoes are possible. And then a large marginal threat of severe weather is in place for the northern plains and the Midwest, where isolated hail and wind will also be a possibility.
This is a strong tornado with a horizontal vortex. This thing is at least an EF3. This is not weak. Oh my God! Sorry, lightning just struck right next to me. Take shelter immediately.